Okay. Hello, dear friends. Good evening. Such a beautiful, beautiful evening. So today, bright sunshine day. So I was thinking maybe I should go out, and I went to Morgan Hill. It's not too far away from my place. It's a pleasant drive. I listened to the stories, listened to podcasts as I was driving. It's a wonderful, interesting day. So today's video is using the footage of my trip to Morgan Hill Library, downtown area, and I went to a restaurant, coffee shop. Yeah, that's about the scenery you are about to see. So this video is continuation of the Egyptian mythology. Yesterday we talked about the treacherous Set. Set is the son of Nut. Nut had 5 children. The big brother is Osiris. He was a kind, just, and powerful king, the ruler of Egypt. And his brother, Set, S-E-T or S-E-T-H. Set was jealous, and he made a trick, or he made a special, quite deceiving or mischievous or evil plan. And he planned to let everyone try to fit into a box. Whoever fit into the box get this gift. So he made this box, the chest, exactly the size of Osiris. So Osiris tried this chest, and he closed the chest. So it became the coffin of Osiris, his big brother. So that he became the king. Set became the king because he has murdered his brother, the rightful king. So this one, we are talking about the wife or the queen of Egypt, Isis. Isis, I-S-I-S, Isis is the queen of Egypt. She is the wife of Osiris and also sister of Osiris. And so let's continue with the story. Osiris, the wise and the just king of Egypt, was murdered by his treacherous brother Set. Why and how is told in the story we just read. Okay, so why and how is just told through the story from yesterday's story. There also, we read how the chest which held Osiris' body was carried out to sea. So we have read, right? So the chest was carried out to the sea. Unknown to anyone, came to be imprisoned in a pillar in the hall of the king of Byblos. So the chest went to the sea, on the bottom of the sea, and then there was a big wave, and then the chest rose up to an island under a beautiful tree. And the king of that place, Byblos, that place found this tree so beautiful, so they use this tree to make a pillar, make a column, make a structural component of the palace. So now the king Osiris is actually inside the pillar of a palace. Meanwhile, in Egypt, Osiris' loving wife Isis cut off her hair as a sign of mourning and gave herself up to grief. So Osiris' wife Isis was just so very sad and in a very sorrow stage. Her sorrow was the greater because she was about to have a child. Her sorrow was already great, and now it becomes even greater because she was pregnant. She was about to have a child, which would now have no father to protect it. The child will be born as an orphan or as a fatherless boy. While Isis was grieving, Set seized his chance. He declared himself Lord of Egypt and imprisoned Isis in a spinning house where flax was spun into thread by slaves. So he imprisoned her into a spinning house. Spend your time spinning and weaving a shroud, he told her with an evil laugh. You do this job only, okay? Isis was comforted. Isis was comforted in her misery by the wise god Thoth. Although Isis was in her worst of her life, the lowest point, she was comforted by the wise god Thoth. Thoth is the god of wisdom, whose spell undid the locks of her prison. Ooh. So he unlocked the prison. Flee far away and hide, he urged. Set will not rest until he has destroyed you. So when night came, Isis ran from the house. In the darkness, she ran away. Isis was accompanied by 7 scorpions, sent by Thoth to protect her on the journey. Isis escaped, and with her there were 7 scorpions to protect her. And these 7 scorpions was arranged by the god of wisdom, Thoth. 2 followed behind Isis, 2 walked on each side, 1 left, 1 right, 2 behind, 3 in the front, and 3 went ahead to ensure the safety of the path. 7 of them, together with Isis, so they left. After much journeying, Isis knocked at a house to ask for a night's shelter. They walked the whole day, and Isis was very, very tired. In the evening, she knocked on the door of a big house. She thought, this house is big. Maybe I can spend my night here, and tomorrow morning I can keep on with my journey. So she knocked on the door. A rich woman who lived there slammed the door in her face. This callous behavior enraged the Scorpions, and they took a horrible revenge. So the rich woman opened the door. Isis knocked at the door. Isis was tired and hungry and thirsty. She was not in her glorious state, right? And the rich woman saw, oh, a beggar in front of me, slammed the door. And she was just very, very rude, the rich woman. And the Scorpions saw this. The 7 Scorpions was very angry, so they decided to take a revenge. This rich woman has a baby boy. So one of the Scorpions said, we shall poison the boy as a revenge, and give all of you, give your poison to me, and I will carry all the poison to poison the baby boy. So 6 of them added their poison to the tail of the 7th, which crawled under the door and stunned the woman's baby with 7-fold of poison, because that's a 7 amount of 7 Scorpions poison. The woman shrieked and howled when she found her dying child. Isis, who had been given shelter by a poor fisher girl, in another book it is said is a poor old woman, and in here is a poor fisher girl. Anyway, another person who is not so rich, and another person opened the door so Isis could spend her night in the poor lady's house. And Isis was sheltered by the poor fisher girl, was filled with pity for the mother. The child shall not die through no fault of his own. That is wisdom. Isis said, the mother has done something wrong, but no mother deserves the punishment of losing her own child. And no child should be punished because of the deed, not from himself. That's very, very wise. And she commanded the poison to be departed. She commanded, Scorpions, don't do that. Take out the poison and return the baby to the woman. When the rich woman saw her son restored to life, she took all her fine possessions and filled and wanted to give to Isis. Thank you so much for giving life to my son again, and I will give up all my possession. I'm sorry for my rudeness at the beginning. Now I am giving all my possession to you. Anything if you want. And Isis said, I do not need money. I do not need your richness. But this poor lady who helped me, maybe she can she can find some use of your fortune. So the rich woman gave all her possession to the poor lady. So she did this in the honor of Isis, because Isis saved saved her son, whom the poor fisher girl have helped her to. Who the poor fisher girl had helped when she had not. So the rich woman helped the poor woman because she had it. And the poor woman actually helped Isis when she did not have anything. She just had a roof under her head and no simple food, and just slept with, allow Isis to sleep there. That's some moral story, right? Moral teaching. Isis found a hiding place in the swamp of the delta, where the Niles divides to form many islands. So Isis finally found a place. This place is a little bit like the island of Delos, not in the land, a floating island. Anyway, Isis found a place where this place is on the route or on the waterway of the Niles, because Niles every year there are flood and the water change way, so there are a lot of island, and Isis stayed in that island. There her son Horus was born on the island of Chemmis. The island name is Chemmis, among the papyrus reeds. Isis entrusted her baby to the care of Wadjet, the kindly snake goddess of the delta. So Isis gave her own child to Wadjet, 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 and this Wadjet looks very much like snake, is the goddess of snake of the delta, and set off to search for the body of Osiris. So she could not carry the baby to travel around. She left the baby in the care of a snake goddess and kept on her journey to look for the body of her dear husband Osiris, the king of Egypt. For until he had been given a proper funeral, his spirit could not enter the land of the dead. If there is not a proper funeral, the spirit will lingering around and cannot find a landing place. That is very much like Chinese mythology also. But before she left, she loosened the island from the riverbed and sent it floating in the water so that Set should not find it. So she made this island into, she is a god of wisdom also. She is very, very, she's a magician. She's also, Isis is a very powerful queen. So she made the island becoming a floating island. Isn't it the same as the island of Delos, right? Where I think it's Apollo and Artemis was born, right, in the island of Delos, a floating island. So that she made it into a floating island, so Set could not find it. For a long time, Isis searched, but in vain. Nobody she questioned knew what had happened to the chest containing Osiris' body. Then one day, some children playing near the river told her they had seen a splendid chest swept by the current towards the open sea. Isis summoned up the demons of the sea to help her. If you can make the king of Byblos cut down the finest pillar of his palace, you will have what you seek, they said. And they told her the fate of the chest. So the story was like this. Some little boys was playing around in the sea and found a beautiful chest, a splendid chest. So Isis went to the god of magician, and she asked the demons, tell me where the chest is. And some little boys already told me. And the magicians, the demons, told her that the chest is in the pillar of the palace of king of Byblos, king of Byblos. And they told her the fate of the chest, everything. So Isis then unfurled a pair of mighty wings and flew across the sea to Byblos. The moment her feet touched the shore, she shed her god-like form and became an old beggar woman. She sat beside a well, grieving and silent. So Isis opened up her wing, the majestic wing, and fly to Byblos. And as soon as she landed, her feet touched the ground, she changed the form into a beggar. It's a little bit like Odysseus, right? Athena changed him into the form of a beggar, old beggar. That's So she sat beside a well, just very silent. And just at this time, the maid servant of the queen of Byblos came to draw water. She was on the well, and there was a servant lady came to get some water. These she greeted humbly and asked to be allowed to braid their hair. Into each braid she breathed a delicious perfume, so that when the women returned to the palace of their mistress, Queen Astarte, the queen demanded to know how their hair came to smell so sweet. Yeah, Egyptian perfume is, in the old time, perfume is a very important kind of cosmetics or perfume. It's just very important. When she heard of the woman by the well, the queen had her brought to the palace and liked her so much that she made her nurse her baby son. So the queen of Byblos, of that place, smelled the hair, and she asked, where did you get this fragrance? And the servants told her, we were by the well and find a beggar lady, an old woman, and she braided our hair, and that's why. And the queen of Byblos said, bring her here. So they brought Isis there, and the queen of Byblos saw her, and she looks very nice, and yeah, I will let her to nurse my baby. So the baby boy, who had been thin and weak, flourished so amazingly under Isis' care that the queen, who at first had been delighted, grew suspicious. Ooh. Something too good is to be suspicious, right? Is to be doubt. She feared that the stranger was using magic arts and began to watch her closely. Knowing that Isis nursed the child by the fire in the great hall when everyone else was asleep, the queen hid and watched. Oh, Isis every day nursed the child by the fire. And nobody saw it because everyone was asleep in the night. She saw Isis lay the baby in the flame. She burns the flame. Then, while the fire played over him, she transformed herself into a swallow, into a bird, and flew around and around, round, around the pillow, uttering sad cries. The horrified queen dashed forward and snatched her son from the flame. Foolish mother, exclaimed Isis, appearing before the queen in all the brightness of a god. She transformed back into the queen, into her glory self. Had you not interfered, I could have made your son a god, as myself, as I am. The fire was burning away all that was human in him, but now he will be no more godlike than any other child. I was burning away the human elements of the baby, and I am trying to make him a god, and you stopped it. And now he is just another human. Seeing that her son was quite unharmed, Queen Astat fell on her knees before the goddess and begged forgiveness, entreating her to stay and nurse the little prince. The king offered her all the riches of Byblos if she would do so. Yeah. The queen of Byblos said, I'm sorry, I didn't know this, but forgive me, stay here and nurse my baby. And I will give you everything you need, all the richness if you need, if you like. I cannot stay, Isis said, nor do I need your riches. I do not need money. I do not want to stay. I have my own mission impossible. But I will leave your child my blessing in return for one thing. I will give my blessing to your child, but with one condition. I just want to have one return, one favor from you. Give me whatever you shall find within the pillar of this hall. The king at once gave orders for the pillar to be split apart, and the chest containing her husband's coffin was discovered within. Isis flung herself upon it and shed bitter tears. Then she wrapped the rest of the pillar in fine linen, anointed with scent oil, and give it to the king and queen. So she took out the chest inside, the coffin inside, and made this pillar back again just as pretty or even prettier. She wrapped it up with beautiful fabric and and with scented oil, and give back give back this redecorated pillar to the king and queen, who placed it in the temple at Byblos. So the king and queen placed this in the temple of Byblos instead of their palace. This temple became a place of pilgrimage as people flocked to worship the wood that had held the body of a god. That's a very special, very, very special piece of wood. Isis brought the coffin secretly to Egypt by boat and hid it in the marsh while she returned to her baby. So she could not carry a coffin walking around, right? She put the coffin in the boat and transferred into Egypt and hid it in the middle of a marsh, a dirty mud land. Yeah. And she returned to look for her own baby, Horus. But on that very night, Set and his followers came boa hunting in the marshes. By the night of the full moon, that night was a night of full moon, as Set splashed through the reeds, he came upon the hidden chest and recognized it. He broke it open and tore the body of Osiris into 14, 2 times 7. Another thing related to 7. That's buggers me something. Yeah, it just make me so curious. What is that specialty, singularity of 7? So Set found this coffin because it's a full moon night. He was hunting in the marsh, and he just bumped into this, and he recognized, oh, I did it. That was my chest many, many, many moons ago. Wow, this, how come it is here? Whatever happened, he opened that chest. He knows how to open it, right? Because the lock should be opened by the locker itself, by the person who locked it. And he's the person who locked it, so he can open it. And he cut the body of Osiris into 14 parts. 2 times 7, 14 parts. And then he scattered the body around all over Egypt, the lands of Egypt, everywhere. So if anyone was searching for the body, they should go to south of Egypt, north of Egypt, up Egypt, to east, west, south, north, everywhere. Then weary Isis began her search once more. So Isis came back and she could not find it. So she had to be, because the body was everywhere. So Isis need to go to all part of Egypt Egypt to search it again. So Isis began her search one more time. Once again, she made a boat of papyrus reed in which she traveled up and down the Nile looking for the pieces of Osiris' body. She was helped by her sister Nephthys, who thought she was the wife of Set, who, by her sister Nephthys. Nephthys is actually the wife of Set, but Nephthys has no love for her husband. Set is a bad guy. Even her wife, even his wife does not like her, does not like him, does not love him. They took no rest, and Nephthys is the sister of Isis. Yeah, the relationship between sisters is much stronger than a treacherous husband, right? They gathered them together and wept loudly over them. So they took no rest until they found every single pieces of Osiris' body. They recovered. And they gathered them together and they wept, they cried over it. The cries were heard by Ra, the Shining One. Ra was the god, right, of Almighty. Their cries were heard by Ra, who sent the jackal-headed god Anubis to them. There was another god with a jackal on the head, and his name is Anubis. Anubis showed them how to bind Osiris' body together with linen bandage. So Osiris' body became 17 parts, but Anubis told the two sisters, you can bind the body together. You can tie the body back together. This, it is said, was how the first mummy came to be made. For the ancient Egyptians, wrapping their dead in this way, Isis watched over the mummified Osiris and tried to fan life back into his nostrils with her wings. But her magic power could restore him to a half-life only. So his body was bound back. So that's Egyptian mummies, how Egyptian mummy was made, and this was the very first original method of doing it. And Isis was the goddess of magic, right? So she blow the wind, she breath, she blow her breath through the nostril through the nostril to Osiris, but her magic power was not strong enough. She could only revive or restore him to half-life. So that Ra decreed that he should live again to rule in the Duat, the land of the dead. So Ra gave Osiris the power to rule only the land of the dead. He is no longer the king of Egypt. He is no longer the king of Egypt, the living Egypt, only for the dead. That is the story of the wandering of Isis. Isis recovered Osiris, her dear husband, the king of Egypt, and revived him halfway. He is only the king of the dead, the lord of the land of the dead. Thank you very, very much. I love you. I really do. Do, 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 do. Gu, gu, ba, ya.